So, this is a little bit of a different type of podcast that I planned on recording today. Don't worry, the one that was planned is just being moved to Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when I get around to it, because Bryce was not available today. But I will be able to record with him later on for the discussion topics of recent media. But this is kind of a rant podcast right here. This is just a quick rant on things that just annoy the heck out of me. You know, things that people talk about and, scoff at, ignore, but they're actually important and rather interesting topics that people don't touch upon, like when teachers scoff at students when they ask, when am I ever going to use this topic? Like, that is the most important question to ask that right now. If you don't think you will ever use that specific topic in the field of work that you believe that you are going into, then why take the time and spend the time to have to tediously learn how to do that topic when you could be spending that time learning about topics that would actually help your field that you want to pursue in life? Like, why would you scoff at a question that would actually change the route of their high school career or middle school or even elementary school career, that would affect their future positively if they wish to take a specific path? Like, I know that you cram this into our brains just in case we will use it in that rare field, but why cram it into your mind if you know for a fact that you are not going to pursue that field specifically? What's the point of just shoving topics like trigonometry and like the quadratic formula down your throat if you don't think you're going to use it in reality? Because why spend like an hour or two of your day having to sit through a class and learn about topics that will not help you in any way when it's not going to benefit you in any way possible? They should, I know this would like really change the way schools work, but they should be able to choose if they wish to. Well, what I believe they should do is, if you want to do a certain career, go and study the things that are required that you need to know information for that career. And then once you got that down, they will assign you specific classes that will help you and move you towards that career goal. Now, I know that careers do change in students depending on what year they decide what they want to do. Like, when you're in elementary school, let's say you want to be an astronaut and junk, you can keep elementary and maybe even middle school the same. Just like in high school, when most kids have a clear knowledge of what they want to do with their life, let them choose or study the topics that they need to follow that career path. I believe that would be the most important thing for them right now. Now, it's kind of a hard topic to, argue with, because a lot of teachers will say, like, you could actually use this in a number of fields, but what are the chances of that specific student out of, like, 2,000 students in your entire school choosing that one career? It's like 100 out of them. So what would be the problem of these students, studying that specific topic, learning what they need to learn about that topic so they can pursue it in the correct manner? Like, what is keeping schools from doing that? Now, I am just a freaking 14-year-old child from Indiana, but I believe that this is the way that schools should be. Like, other people have other opinions, but that makes the most sense towards me specifically, and I hope it makes sense to you guys, because I am just ranting on my opinion, which is completely and entirely not fact-based. It's just purely and simply how I think and what I think is correct. So you don't have to agree with me with this opinion, but I believe that this is the way that this should work, and I hope I get the benefit of the doubt, and like hit the nail on the head there where the school should be, because that makes the most sense. It would benefit every student individually. And why just make all the students go through the exact same high school experience, like education-wise, for all of them, instead of sculpting their high school experience around their personal wishes to pursue? Like, I could understand that core classes are important, in literature and science would be interesting topics, but if they don't want to learn about that specific topic, then why cram it into their brain? Now, I know this is giving the high schoolers a lot of power, and they could easily take advantage of this if they are not in the best judgment, but if they want to do nothing throughout high school and take classes that are only easy, and they will sculpt their career into something they don't want to do, then they can be stuck with that because they made poor decisions. I believe that high schoolers themselves can be responsible enough to choose classes that would benefit them in the field that they wish. I mean, kids aren't stupid. They are getting smarter and smarter as technology grows in this society. Like, now that kids have, like, computers and knowledge of everything going on in the entire world in their pockets, then they can learn things at a much younger age. Like, my 9-year-old, 10-year-old cousins know about politics in freaking Syria and things, and they know, like, too many words. Like, a lot of, like, my cousin walked up to me one day and said, "Why are you being so facetious?" I always have problems with this word, facetious, or facetious. I'm sorry. It's a tongue twister. It's always been a tongue twister for me. And I asked her what the definition was for that, and I looked it up, and she said it exactly how it was worded in the Google search. Or sorry. This is not the cousins on my mom's side. This is my dad's side, or the Watson side. But, yeah, I think that is rather, it could benefit them in a negative, and it can affect them in a negative and beneficial way. Like, the access to the internet can be negative and it can be positive, depending on how they treat the internet and how they choose to research and go throughout the internet can greatly affect the knowledge that they have in their vocabulary or in their brain. I believe that the internet can be effective in spreading knowledge to a younger demographic, but depending on how the parents allow that, it can affect their child in a positive or negative way. Like this entire YouTube issue. You see, all the parents let their kids have free reign over this entire app that has a demographic of 7-year-olds all the way up to maybe 65 to 90-year-olds, way mature people. And they let their kids watch mature content and then get mad at the site for allowing their kids to see that, even though it was the parents' fault for allowing their kid to get onto that site unmonitored and watch these types of videos. And YouTube has released a platform that is separate, which separates the bad channels and the good channels. All the kid-friendly channels are on there, and all the negative channels are cut out. But all the kids want to watch what the grown-up kids are watching, and their parents allow this. And the parents are blaming the corporation for this, even though it's not their fault. It's the parents' fault. It's just common sense that you should understand that that is your problem. You didn't parent right. You allowed your child to see this content and let it go unmonitored, even though there's a parental access thing built into the site itself and the app. You can tweak that so your children do not have access to the channels that swear excessively and show mature, violent content. Like the discussion topic on video games. Violent video games in the industry. Why do you blame the video game for displaying violence onto your child when you knew that they gave a rating that it was mature, it was for 17 and older, but you chose to give your child access to that mature content, and then after you realize that is mature, you yell at the company, and then the news gets involved, and then everyone's saying that video games cause violence in the community. But really, violence is traced back to much more deeper issues within the family itself. Many psychopaths didn't start from all of the psychopaths. There's not a single psychopath that has started because of a video game violence. I mean, sure, you could look it up on Google and like, hey Gabe, this is right here, and this says blah, 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 blah. But is that true, or is it just false? Is it just false accusations against a company that has done nothing but gave you warnings about this situation? Like, most serial killers, they start off of getting constantly bullied or never getting a break from harassment. Like, it's usually that the parents are abusive or there's just intense bullying going on. Usually psychopaths do not get a break from constant harassment. Now, if that was realized, then we could actually take action against these issues that causes these people to snap. Like, this could be solved if we just use some common sense and focus more on the topic that is most important. This is, again, my opinion. I don't want to make this sound like I'm speaking of facts. You can think anything you want, but just don't parade that opinion as fact. That is the main problem with society right now. In my opinion, I believe that right now people have a problem distinguishing fact from opinion. You can say that this person is horrible and you do not like them, but that is an opinion and not a fact. Now, if you have factual evidence that this person has done horrible things, then that's a fact. That is a fact. But if you don't have evidence that this person is a horrible person, then it's just an opinion. You need proof that this person is horrible or this thing is horrible before you go parading that this causes violence or it produces violence as a fact. You need to be able to distinguish fact and opinion to the point where you can be able to discuss this correctly. This is just an opinion rant, really. I don't want to make people think that this is what I believe is factual. Well, I believe that this is the way this could be handled and it could be solved, but this is just an opinion that could be well placed into the factual region because I do have quite a bit of evidence. But if you wish to not believe the evidence, then that could change the entirety of how you accept my opinion. Like, if you refuse to accept factual evidence that this is what is going on and why this needs to happen, it's like when society changes in a negative way. Everyone, or in a negative or positive way, but people can see them as both sides of the concept. But when people don't agree with your opinion, then that can get a little tipsy, you know? Because people have started wars over opinions. Like, the entire internet can be wars, opinionated wars. Why do we need to fight about our specific opinion if you don't have factual evidence that this is what's going on? And if they wish not to accept this is what is actually real, this is reality, this is what's going on in the world right now, then they are living in denial. They will not accept factual evidence that this is happening in your society. You need at least 2 trustworthy, actual, set-in-stone, factual, evident pieces before you can be able to say, hey, this is what's going on in the world, and this is how we need to solve it. You can't just set your opinion, parade it around as factual, and then expect people to immediately, everyone to agree. Because there's always going to be one side of the argument and the other side of the argument. It's just the way an argument is. It's been taught throughout literature and many other classes. If you've ever taken English past like the 7th grade level, or maybe even 6th grade, they're teaching it earlier and earlier, you will learn about the argument essay, format. of you need to state sorry, I'm stumbling here. You need to state one side of the argument with facts about how this side can be taken as true, and then you can be on the other side of why this side can be taken as true. Now, the main issue with arguments is that one of them is going to have to bite the bullet and agree with one another, or it's never going to stop. Arguments are always going to happen. They're never going to go away. That's just a part of society. Arguments are never going to go away. But we can obviously control the way arguments set out by distinguishing fact from opinion. You can get rid of, I would say, about 25% of arguments on the internet by just distinguishing fact from opinion. It's not as difficult as it sounds. It can be kind of difficult, because a lot of people on the internet disagree with you. They're always going to disagree with you. People will believe you, but a lot of people will disagree with you. That's just the way the internet works, because there's a couple billion people on the internet, I'm pretty sure. And if you can convince every single one of them to be on your side, then you are a genius. You cannot. You will always have someone that will disagree with you. You can never appeal to everyone. But as long as you know that is factual, you can back that up by evidence, and you can bring that upon the world without causing a negative reaction, which is nearly impossible, then kudos. It's like, well, this is kind of an odd comparison, but it's like the entire humongous debate. The woman involved with that, she accused this man of sexual harassment, even though that he was not being violent. He was not saying anything negative towards her. He was just saying a dad joke. And for her to go as far as to send him to court, I believe that she has gone out of hand. She chose to choose her opinion over factual evidence. She had, quote-unquote, evidence of this happening, but they were false accusations. In a video, she has said multiples of how he was pushing himself onto her, and he was like being extremely like forced onto her, even though and when you watch the video, you can obviously see that this man is laid back. He is purely just pulling a joke on her, and she sent him to court and tried to sue him, and people are taking her side. I just want to make sure that you understand that this is just an opinionated, discussion. You don't have to agree with me with this. You can be on the entirely different perspective, but I just believe that this is what's going on, and this is how we could possibly take care of this issue. Well, I've been talking for 24 minutes straight about my problems, and I believe that this is over. I just wanted to let you know about my opinions on a couple of the things going on in society. And I will see you on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on when we have time, because my birthday is this Wednesday. So, I will see you in the next podcast, which we will maybe discuss topics that are a little less intensely based on society. And maybe we can talk about a couple of the new movies coming out, like Toy Story 4 and that new Pikachu movie, because that would be nice tonal shift from this one. And as always, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next podcast. Bye.